Sometimes the most powerful songs don't need words at all. In this episode, we're counting down the top 5 instrumentals, tracks that speak volumes without saying a single thing. From timeless classics to genre-defining jams, these pieces prove that music really is its own language. Stay with us, won't you?
Get ready for the 3324 podcast, where lifelong friends Dean Legiro and Eric Kuber share their love of all things music and movies. Dean has directed short films and is a music trivia buff. And Eric, trained in audio engineering, brings his extensive knowledge of music and film to the conversation as they discuss, debate, and celebrate their favorite albums, films, and much more.
Welcome, friends, to the 3324 podcast, home of the continually dirty glasses. I just wiped them off, but in wiping them, I added a smudge.
Oh, okay.
Don't you hate that for glass wearers?
I do.
Yes, I do.
And I'm very picky about it. Like any little thing.
I know. It's a pain in the ass.
I need clear vision. I need to see exactly what's going on. I don't want a speck, and I'm thinking that it's a UFO in the sky.
Especially in the allergy season, the pollen and you don't realize just how much it accumulates. And you come home, my freaking eyes are all bloodshot and they're itchy. And
glasses have a film on them.
Yeah,
sediment. Yeah. So for the people with perfect vision, we applaud you. You do not have these problems. we were all one. I don't know, Chris. Have you worn glasses your whole life?
Since I was 6 years old.
Okay, so
really?
Yes. I have not. It's a recent thing for me. So I used to wear reading glasses, but now everything's falling apart. Anyway, the 3324 medical podcast will be coming next year, so look out for that. We'll have that for you. But for today, it's the 3324 music and movie podcast, Eric, right?
That's right.
We want everybody to make sure they're in the right spot.
Yes, and we have another great, my favorite stuff, top fives, I think.
Yeah, I was looking forward to
we
this
do.
one for
Yeah.
sure.
Everybody gets equal time. Everybody, I love their thoughts. I'm always looking forward to who picked what, this is why, and it's great.
And this one will be of particular interest. Top 5 instrumentals, because I'm gonna put my bias right out there that you guys are your songs are going to be no less than 7 and 8 minutes long. They're going to be from the 70s, and they're going to be from prog groups. That's my broad generalization. And feel free to reply.
I
have one prog on here, and that's it. And
thank you.
There's only maybe two songs that are over 6 minutes. So
okay.
I actually don't have any prog in my top 5.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, maybe one band. There's one band that might qualify. Some people might say have prog elements, but what I tried to do with mine was what I started out with was like, for some reason, all the instrumentals I first thought of were all metal. And then I started talking, I will say this was like a Clark family discussion, and between my dad, my brother, and I, and like, they gave me some really good suggestions, and I feel like I have a very diverse top 5, but all of like my prog stuff is all in I got a lot of prog stuff that'll probably end up being in honorables. So,
okay. All right. See, I stand corrected and I'm not going to say happily so. It is what it is. But I was just, again, making those assumptions. I'm like, okay, here we go. The Gates of Iridium, part 7, 8, and 9 by,
I have no idea what that is. And
it sounds like something that would be, overblown, bloated, 15-minute experimental thing. So I did something funny. I calculated the average year that my songs, that my top 5 came. I took the honorable mentions. I took the honorable mentions and the top 5 and calculated the average year that they came out. I'm not going to reveal it now because then it'll kind of give the game away.
These were probably pretty much for me, pretty much off the top of my head.
Mine too.
Actually, I just kind of late in the game. I was like, I wasn't even really thinking about it until I was like, oh shit, until like not yesterday, but the day before, and I was like, I got to get my list, and I'm like, well, I just like
Mine
but
came.
these are tracks that I loved for quite a while. So
I felt good about my list, and then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, and it got like the list of instrumentals I didn't think of got longer and longer and longer.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm really content with the 5 I have, so I'm not going to do this to myself.
Yeah, I was the same thing. I knocked out like ones that I knew absolutely were going to be on. Then you start going down the rabbit hole. You find some other things and some fun stuff, and I'm like, nah, you know what? And actually, there was one in particular that I wanted on the list, but it was not on YouTube Music. The version I wanted. Why is that important? Well, because we're making a playlist out of this. So if you go either now or after the episode is done, go to the show notes, and there's a link to the YouTube Music playlist of our picks. But we invite and encourage and implore and ask and invite you to give us your picks, and we will add them to that growing dynamic playlist of great instrumentals. So I think, it's always great, I don't think any of us try and pick stuff to make the definitive list.
Mm-hmm.
We make the definitive list for us and not try and pick things that we think will make a great list, which I think in this case leaves a lot of meat on the bone. So the one question I have, usually we kind of talk about like what would qualify for a top 5. The basic question for both of you is, what makes a good instrumental? Is it length? Is it the type of instrument? Like for you, what makes it engaging or good instrumental? What grabs you to a piece of instrumental music that other pieces don't?
I think with instrumental music, it could, especially when you think about like some of those like shredders in the 80s and stuff. There's a propensity where it could get really long and redundant and boring. Like to me, if it has like any kind of, to me, the way I thought about it was any song that you're going to be into is going to have like something that's got a memorable hook or like an interesting melody line. Like that still needs to be present even in an instrumental. And so the ones that I picked were songs that I like, you walk away humming, like it's got like that memorable hook or that memorable melody, even without the words. Like you could still like hum it out and know what it is and all that kind of stuff.
Eric?
I agree. But then there's also whatever mood. I think mood plays a big role.
That's what I was. Yeah, that was the missing link that I was going to bring.
Yeah. Just sometimes you're in a sad mood. You want to hear something, maybe something sad, but uplifting. You know what I mean? To kind of get you out of your funk, or even just something that'll, just make you feel or something, and you mentioned instruments. Definitely, I think that comes into play depending on what you're in the mood for. I'm a big horn guy. I love horns. I love, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, there's a few on my list that probably, speak to that. Okay. But it just good vibes, good mood, good, always has to have a good groove for me. It's got to kind of flow and move. And sometimes, it could get a little jammy, but it's not, but it has to, like Chris was saying, it has to you have to kind of bring it home. You gotta have that melody. You can't just have a 10-minute thing of just soloing, could drive you nuts too. I mean, so, but does
that go against what you were saying about emotional songs with emotion, or, sometimes, an emotional song isn't a hooky song, right? Sometimes it's atmospheric or
that, right. Yeah.
Like more of an ambient thing, right? That evoke an emotion, right? Where there's not particularly a hook, but an overall feeling to the piece, right? Where,
methinks he has something on his list that.
No. I'm just. No,
I know I do.
I'm bouncing off of what you said, where it's got to have a hook, it's got to have this, and I'm like, well, that kind of is a little counter to something. If you're looking for some mood music, it's not usually hooky. It's usually kind of a little bit more loose and just kind of almost backgroundy, perhaps, right?
Chris said the hook thing, but I agree. I mean, but there could be both. I mean, like I said, it depends on what you're. I mean, if you want something something that just kind of gets you going or something like that. Yeah, I would definitely need that hook. I would definitely need that. But to sit in the dark and be just sort of like meditating, something, that's effective too. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could choose from. I mean, what were the rules? I mean, we didn't really, you didn't really say if there were any boundaries to this thing.
The rules were there are no rules. The name of, and I left it like the name of the episode is Top 5 Instrumentals.
Okay.
I did not say top 5 rock instrumentals. I did not say
in specific. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, there was nothing of top 5 of the 70s or anything like that. So,
okay.
So I'm looking forward. I still have a feeling, even though this is a really broad category with this, I still feel like there'll be a little bit of. I've got two songs I'm worried about. That may I'm like, okay, these one I'm just going to get to right off the bat. So one of them, my number 5, is just going to take one off the board if it doesn't already get taken off the board. So that being said, with all the talk, let's get into this list. If you're new to our top 5s, we go round robin. We go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we do a bunch of honorable mentions. So this way, by the time you get the playlist tonight, it'll have around 30 songs on it when you're done listening. And then, like I said, hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can send us a message through the app. Let us know what your picks are. We will add them to that list and grow it. And continue to grow, which always makes it fun, again, when we crowdsource this stuff. So without further ado or delay, number 5, Eric is going to start off with his number 5 of our top 5 instrumentals of no specific date, year, or genre.
Okay. All right.
So there you go. You have been loosed. You have been let loose with that.
Unleashed. This is a tune that I came to know largely through Andy, actually, because he introduced me to Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, great swing, post sort of retro. I mean, not retro, but like neo swing band. They would start their show though, every show with a tune by Duke Ellington called Blue Pepper, and it's this from their Far East Suite record. I think it was made in the 60s. Not as like refined as their older stuff, like his older stuff, like the 40s and the 50s. This is kind of like more, has an edgier, it's not even like the horns are very dirty sounding and very sort of like, it kind of evokes almost, I would say an almost rock vibe, it's loud. It's like, it gets you, it really captures your attention. And they always start their show in the PA when they come out on stage. They're playing this tune, and it's such a great song. And it's a little over 5 minutes. It's not even that long. Maybe even shorter than that. Mm-hmm. So it makes its point, and there it is. And it's just, I think it's one of his best compositions. So, but yeah, so
Duke Ellington
Orchestra, Blue Pepper. It's called. From the Far East Suite. I guess it had the whole album is just one big long thing. This is, I suppose, the sort of like the opening track or whatever. Okay. So yeah, so
cool. All right,
yep, very cool.
Pepper, we got our first. So we're already expanding out with we're going with jazz already. So we're already kind of starting right off. Eric understood the assignment, and
that was one of the reasons why I asked if there were any rules, because traditionally jazz is most of it's instrumental. Most of the time it is,
so
I wasn't sure if that was like a something that we couldn't pick, because typically it's
I made no demand.
Okay. That's cool. All right. Good to know.
There's too many demands on the royal ear.
Yeah.
Most operas are 3 hours. You gave him 4. A little Amadeus. That's apropos. Classic.
All right.
So, all right, Christopher Clark. By the way, I don't think we introduced you properly. We just started.
I did not, but he's he's now a permanent fixture, man. I mean,
I feel like I'm part of the furniture, man.
There you go.
You know what? we still want to introduce Mr. Christopher Clark and as our guest, so we appreciate him for
good to be here,
joining in. So we're not going to start from the beginning. I'm not going to ask you how you're doing. We're just going to now give us your number 5.
All right, so my number 5 is one of the only instrument, if I think the first or the only instrumental song to ever be banned from the radio, and that's Rumble by Link Wray and the Raymond. It was one of those songs that always grabbed my ear. Like I feel like it's been in a few Tarantino movies and all that kind of stuff, but just that riff and just that dirty, crunchy guitar sound with that like just really sleazy like bass and drum backing it up. It's just it evokes such a vibe, and you know, to me, it's almost like metal before metal was a thing. Like it's a very, very cool song. It's always been one of my favorites.
Cool.
And what year is that from? Do you?
I honestly don't know. I didn't look it up. I do know it's from the 50s. I just don't know what year.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because instrumentals like in the 50s are kind of one way. Instrumentals in the 60s kind of came two ways. Instrumentals in the 70s became like something else. It was more rock dominated and kind of you know, a little bit longer. So it's interesting that Eric has chosen jazz and you've gone back to the 50s for like that the twangy
and
stuff.
I love. Yeah, it's just such an influential record too. Like, you know, Pete Townsend has referenced it having an influence on him. Yeah, Jimmy Page. Like, I don't know if anybody out there has ever never seen the movie. It Might Get Loud. There's one scene where they actually show Jimmy Page putting that record on, and you could see he gets like a little kid. He's like playing air guitar and stuff, and just what a profound effect it had on rock and roll later on in history. So
yeah, all those are, you know, these are, you know, they may seem kitschy now or whatever, but those were pioneering to those young ears of kids who would become musicians in the 60s and 70s, right? That was what they were. That was their diet, right? That was what they were fed on.
Yeah,
was Dwayne Eddy, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Because you didn't hear guitar played like that before.
No.
You don't get that
with
twang,
distortion like that.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, there wasn't much of that at the time, you know, to take that and do what they did. They took it even further. But
it came out in 1958. I just looked it up.
1958. I say that tracks right with you know, all those artists from the 70s that were born post-war. You know, 47, they're 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. They're hearing this. You know, those become their guitar heroes. So I guess I'm the odd man out. I didn't think first round I'd have the newest song. but it's all good. This one was this riff. I'll give it away with the clue. This song was stolen by the Beatles twice. They heard this song and they got two uses out of it. The song is from 1968. It's Albatross by Fleetwood Mac.
That's a great song.
And this is actually, this speaks to what both of you were saying before, because this has a hook to it, but it's not hooky. It's very dreamy sounding, right? And very kind of, you know, and then there's just that Peter Green kind of just slow riffing over it, you know.
Such a great
what
guitar
blows
player.
my mind is it's considered a blues song. You hear this, you see this track on a lot of like blues playlists and things like that, and because Peter Green is steeped in it, but it doesn't strike me as a bluesy type of song. It's you know, very sort of atmospheric. Like you said, it's almost psychedelic in a way, right? You know,
probably closer.
Yeah.
Just for, you know, the people that are wondering. The Beatles used it. They specifically reference it I believe in the Get Back documentary. But Sun King on Abbey Road is Albatross stolen, and Don't Let Me Down. The opening riff of Don't Let Me Down is also from that Albatross feeling. But Sun King is just wholesale. Pretty close to theft, which I love. I love that the Beatles were actually listen to contemporary music, and then were, you know, like we think of them as being on high. They weren't so big in their britches that they weren't listening to other things. Say, well, I kind of like that. What would the Beatles version of that sound like? You know, and we got the beautiful Sun King, but Albatross is it's a vibe.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous song.
You know, with the drums like and the cymbals just like shimmery.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not like Eric said. It's not. I guess it's a blues song because it's a blues group, but it's not a typical. It's not like a George Thorogood type. You know,
It showed Peter Green had range, and he was, you know,
a nuance, right? Like
he has a very gifted guitar. I think he's one of the most underrated guitar players. I don't think he gets enough credit.
If he didn't have that mental breakdown in the early 70s, we'd be talking about him the way we talk about Clapton and Page, 100%.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as much as we talk about Lindsey Buckingham, it'd be interesting to see if Peter Green, were still, a rival of sorts, like sort of like the old Lion versus new Lion kind of thing. And, but you don't really hear like when they got, when they became what they became, there's not much mention of their bluesy past.
Everything, the door got shut. But even that whole lineup of Fleetwood Mac at the time with Danny Kerwin, and Jeremy Spencer, who was just he was a slide guitar beast. He was very retro and very into the 50s, a little more Elmore James.
Yeah.
But that whole lineup, that original kind of lineup was beastly.
Didn't Buckingham do a version of Oh Well when they played live though?
Yeah, right?
It's on Fleetwood Mac Live, actually.
Yeah,
that's my preferred version. Actually, I'm sure the old live records that they did, was much better. But the studio version of Oh Well back in the day was very the recording, but I love his live version. Lindsey's is just phenomenal on that record.
I got to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. Eric, number 4. What do you have in store for number 4?
Well, we just lost him recently, and be remiss not to, pay tribute to the great Chuck Mangione. And it's not what you think it is. It's my preferred track, which is "Give It All You Got."
Okay, good.
And it's there's that he's got that flugelhorn thing. He kicks it off, and then there's the sax player on there. And then by the end of the song, they're kind of duetting and harmonizing with that. And it's like I think they played this at 1980 Olympics. It was like, ABC Sports would play this all the time. It's like highlights and showing highlights and that kind of thing. And I always loved it. Has just really nice vibe to it. And just that late 70s, soft jazz kind of thing. It always reminds me of New York, really, that sound. And but yeah, this was one of his best tracks, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny, like instrumentals don't chart anymore as far as I know. No. Like back in the 70s and the early 80s, but mainly the 70s, like I said, you would have like themes from TV shows that were instrumentals that would hit. Like, so in a way, even though there's more, the music is more diverse now. I think what people accepted as a hit was more diverse back then, because like stuff like that would be like feel so good from a far out, like all of a sudden, where this jazz trumpeter in the late 70s comes out with something that is not disco, it is not punk, it's not rock, it's like almost very mellow and
upbeat though. I mean, like you said, people would definitely play this in dance clubs and stuff. I mean, it was just sort of, and of course people kind of mashing it up too. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's funny how like he was probably even more like complex in his earlier work, most likely, and he just got really sort of not mainstream, but you know what I mean. It's just
lightning in a jar, literally lightning in a bottle. Kind of had that one hit, and then people pick up on them. So.
Right.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know anything about Chuck Mangione until I started watching King of the Hill. If I'm being honest,
sometimes it comes from the least expected places. So
the spokesperson for Megalomart.
That being said, what do you have for number 4?
As far away from Chuck Mangione as you can get. But when I was a kid, my brother and I worshipped at the altar of Metallica pretty heavy, and Master of Puppets is probably still one of my favorite albums of all time. And one of the next to last track on that record is an instrumental called Orion. And the chief architect of that song was the band's bass player, Cliff Burton. And he was a classically trained musician. So it's got a lot of classical themes and influences from different classical artists. And it's got all of these different movements. And it's a beautiful song that just continues to build and build and build and build until you get to the end of the song. And unfortunately, very shortly after that record was released, he passed away in a bus accident in Sweden. And it's kind of become almost like his the song that people play to like remember him. It's like his memoriam at this point, and very indicative of what a truly gifted musician he was. You know, he wasn't just simply a bass player in a metal band. It's one of the more beautiful songs I've ever heard. So.
Cool. Do they ever play it live?
Not often. I saw them do it at Yankee Stadium about 14 years ago. And I know when the album turned 20 years old, they went out and played the whole record from top to bottom. So, yeah.
All right. So we went from Mangione to Metallica.
Yep.
And
what a playlist this.
Well, you know what? I mean, Chris said that, you know, Metallica couldn't be any further than Chuck Mangione. Glenn Miller, Moonlight Serenade, could not be any further from Metallica.
There you go.
1944. I love this song, Moonlight Serenade.
Oh, yeah.
It just has a timeless feel to it. You know, there's that you know, back in like the 40s with the big band era, like the clarinet was like the big. It was, you know, you were a trumpeter or you played a clarinet. The saxophones were there, but there weren't like big saxophonists. But you had like Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller, who were like clarinet players, and it just has that sound to it. And Moonlight Serenade it pulls at my heart from 1944. It's just one of those ones that it makes me feel like I can almost understand what it was like to be alive in the 40s, like just by listening to that music. It's timeless, but it also has a time to it. If that makes sense. It's kind of like, yeah, you know what? I wish, you know, if I was alive then, you know, that was contemporary music.
Yeah, it was.
You know, like how would I think? What would I be? What would I feel? How would I feel about it then if I was a young person? This is young person's music, right? Listening to that, like, and it's just gotten better as I've gotten older. The song has just gotten better. It just kind of like it ages well, especially as a listener. I think the older you get, you can kind of appreciate more of it.
I mean, and Glenn Miller is one of those guys, like, even though it's rooted in the 40s and you know that that's 40s music, everybody knows his tunes, man. Like it's identifiable. It's like really multi-generational. And, you know, Eric picked Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Like there was a huge resurgence of that stuff when I was in high school. Yeah. So like, you know, it definitely, it's of a time, but like you said, it's definitely timeless.
Yeah, absolutely. So 1944. So we did the 3 M's. We did the Mangione, we did Metallica, and we did Miller.
There you go.
Well,
and mine began with an M, Moonlight Serenade. So I had the M's all around. All right, number 3, Eric.
So the next letter in the alphabet, which is the letter N. So this is one of those tracks, like Dean was saying, is very sort of atmospheric, very 9 Inch Nails, from the Downward Spiral, A Warm Place.
Nice.
I couldn't even describe. I mean, it's really not much of. It's very subtle, but I think it has more of that crackly atmosphere that he creates, that undertoning of the, you know, but then there's just a few simple notes that kind of, and that's the melody, a lot of people on YouTube are constantly covering the song and making their own guitar, piano, violin, you know, I'm like, it blows my mind but it's so deceptively simple. This, you know, it's this track but it really kind of puts you in a certain place. And of course it's supposed to be about death, you know? So, you know, I don't know, people are like, oh, I want to play this at my funeral. I'm like, yeah, you know, definitely existential. I think about it, but I'm not quite there yet with this one. So, I mean, but it does put me in a certain place. and it's a kind of a really nice respite from the rest of the album, which is pretty intense.
Yeah, it is. It's a very intense record.
Yeah. So yeah, just it's this. I guess Trent Reznor's idea of calming you down, but it's still a little disturbing in a way. It's like it definitely feels a certain thing, but it just it's cool. It's cool shit. Yeah. So
March of the Pigs, it's not.
no, far from it. But it definitely, I would say it's more conducive to what he's doing with score work in that kind of regard. But absolutely. But it's not the heavy sort of like, dance type stuff, like the club, like, industrial metal kind of. I'm imagining that the new Tron movie will be that kind of thing, like, the constant beat throughout and all that kind of thing, and the thrashing. But here it's just, just very, just almost, I mean, but, cyberpunky, I guess, in a way too. Like, it just kind of, I love the way he experiments with sounds and textures and that kind of thing. So that's, so that's my number 3.
All right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mr. Clark.
All right. So another track. This was one by when I told my younger brother, I was doing this top 5. He goes, "You need to include this song," and I'm like, "Do I though?" And so I went and I listened to it, and I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? This one should be in the top 5." And it's "Machine Gun" by the Commodores. It's one of those songs that's very, very much of the 70s. You hear it in a lot of 70s movies like Boogie Nights.
Yep.
It's also lays down the groove for one of my favorite Beastie Boys songs from Paul's Boutique, "Hey Ladies." So it's again, it's a song that's very much an earworm and just one that you feel good when it's done playing. So
yeah, it's got a lot of different parts to it, right? It's got a part breakdown, like where it just kind of slows down. It's like down,
and then it picks back up again. I mean, and
back up, and it's got that.
All those synthesizer sounds are really cool, and the drums are just so in the pocket. It's awesome.
I always had them on my list. Beastie Boys Groove Homes. That great instrumental record they made.
Oh, that album's really cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That it's just, I mean, it just shows their talent too. They could do that kind of shit. They're just the grooves on that record are astounding, but didn't quite make the list because it was too long, so I had to cut it. But that's one of my son's favorites. Like, he loves Beastie Boys. Actually, both of them do, but anyway.
Yeah, if Chris, if you didn't mention Boogie Nights, I would have, because it's so.
Yeah, it's tied to that movie.
Kind of like Stuck in the Middle with You is so tied to Reservoir Dogs.
Yep.
That and Fooled Around and Fell in Love are like tied to Boogie Nights, right?
And,
dives into the pool, and Fooled Around and Fell in Love is playing.
Yep,
and we all know that scene.
A lot of scenes.
The scene in question. What are you doing?
Oh my God!
You're just talking about
that's definitely one of my it's one of my favorite movies of all time for sure. There's so many memorable parts in the theater.
I'm like, what, and of course it ends with ELO.
Yeah, that's great.
And they told him the end, Jeff Lynne. He's like, all right.
I was in the movie theater with my dad watching that movie, and when it came to the end, he leaned over and went, "That's not real." And I went, "Okay."
You should have said, "How do you know?"
I was going to say, do I really need to? We didn't need to talk about it.
Exactly. All right, my number 3. I think I'm still. I feel like I'm getting away with something. I feel like I'm stealing. I feel like I'm stealing from Eric with my number 3.
Go ahead.
1973, Jessica by the Allman Brothers Band. I love that. I love it.
I love it too. I
could listen to that song over and over and over because and it evokes lemonade, iced tea. It evokes a sunny day. It evokes fresh cut grass. It evokes being outside. Like, it just has like a freewheeling
road trip.
When the piano, like it's got so many different movements to it. It slows down, but then it always returns to that really just talk about a hooky riff.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Really, when it came out on Guitar Hero,
I haven't played Guitar Hero in so long.
Thank God. Well, yeah, I haven't. I'm dating myself. But it was one of the songs, like when they finally, like when Guitar Hero came out, they weren't allowed to use the original versions of songs, so they used covers. And then they finally got the licensing straightened out, and Jessica was one of the Guitar Hero songs, and I was like, oh man, it's fun.
Yeah, it's one of their best.
Yeah,
post Wayne, of course, but yeah, it was it's a good try. I think of Field of Dreams.
Yeah, me too.
You know, in the Volkswagen, he's driving the bus. You know, going to him and James Earl Jones. But yeah, I definitely road trip for sure. You're in the long drive in the car. I mean, I done that a million times. But yeah, great song. But no, it was. I thought about it, and I'm like, no, I talk about him all the time. That's the only reason why I didn't put him on there.
I thought about him I thought about In Memory of Elizabeth Reed for a minute, and I'm like, shouldn't be putting a 15-minute song in my top.
That's
new rule. We're gonna put a rule in right now. If anybody picks a 15-minute song on a top 5, it counts for 3 choices.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Counts for 3.
Yeah.
But since we're done with number 3, let's go to number 2. We're ripping through these, so we'll have time to really. Hope you guys have a decent amount of honorable mentions. I've got 5, so hopefully you guys have.
Yeah, I definitely have at least that. So
have as many too. All right. So Eric, number 2. We're now. I mean, I think hopefully we're getting serious now, right? I mean, is this like we're getting serious?
This one I always loved. I mean, and I'm not even a huge fan of the band. I mean, I am, but maybe their earlier stuff, I don't know. But this album in particular was always
Bay City Rollers.
No.
Oh.
But when it comes to, again, this sort of jazzy guitar type of playing, this could definitely qualify. Song of the Wind by Santana. From their how do you pronounce the album? Caravanese album. It's the album with
Caravanserai, is it? Yeah.
Caravanserai. It's an entirely instrumental album as well, I believe. Really great grooves on this and again, the mood of it, his guitar playing is just off the charts. Neil Schon also plays on it. Some nice soloing from him on there as well. Pre-Journey. So, but yeah, just such a great song. And I used to love playing along on the congas with this one and the bongos. It just has that heavy rhythm track to it, and it just keeps going. And but it's only like 6 minutes long. You think it kind of goes on forever, but the guitars just don't stop. It's almost like the guitars are voices, like they're in themselves, and it's that kind of like. They're not jamming because they're not playing the same thing. But it's not quite soloing either. It's like they're hitting notes that are just like all over the place, and it's just so great. Yeah, it's spiritual. That's how I would describe. That's how he would describe it, I'm sure. But I agree. I totally buy into that spiritual sense. It just takes you to another plane. Yeah, such a great track.
Yeah, I don't think Carlos Santana gets. I don't think anybody talks about him enough.
No, not at all.
It's kind of, and he has one of the most recognizable guitar sounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
You talk about like guitar sounds that you hear and you know who it is. It's like, Carlos Santana is one of those. Like he's got a particular sound that is his. But yeah, he doesn't really.
He's made a lot of albums, but they're sort of like hit or miss. There's some of them like soup to nuts. Some of them are not so great.
Is he retired? Is he still?
He's still.
He's still out there. Yeah. Yeah, he's still doing it.
Yeah, I think part of it too is that in the 70s he didn't stay in the lane that he started out in, and with Caravanserai started moving into things with like John McLaughlin and jazzier and more fusion stuff, and I think he followed his muse, and if that meant not selling 10 million records, so be it, but he followed where his music took him, and he had that huge resurgence when I was in college where like everybody and their mother seemed to have that Supernatural album.
Yeah.
If this is considered jazz fusion, which is probably, I think it probably is, I would recommend it to somebody who's not really aware of it, because it's not as, you don't hear a lot of weird time signatures and things on this song. It's very sort of like, it's just a really good vibe to it. So, yeah.
Remember that song? I'm winning.
Yeah.
I love that song.
I'm winning.
Yep.
Off the Z-Bop record. That's a great tune.
Yep. When I first heard the song, obviously I didn't know it was Santana, and then you come find out later. Yeah, but so many band, band members come and go, the changes and, the sound, overall sound of what he's done, what he's doing. So, but,
like the rotating like different vocalists come in and, all of a sudden you get a hit with that guy, but then he's already gone, and they're already on to something else. So,
yeah.
All right. Christopher Clark, number 2.
So this is another one that I think is, probably one of the artist's most famous tracks, and that's "Glad" by Traffic off the John Barleycorn Must Die record, and it's just got that great groove on the piano, and there's just really cool vibes, and like even slows it down, and it gets a little bit like out there for a second before it picks back up again, and it's just amazing. It just shows what a brilliant musician Steve Winwood is, and he actually still plays it live. And when he plays it, it's all him. He whatever's going on in that song when he performs it live, it's just all coming out of him and nobody else. And it's a great tune, and it's a great table setter for one of Traffic's better albums. So,
ding! Chris Clark just took one of mine. It was in my honorable mention. But
okay, all right. Well, you got time to scramble and you can't throw in Jessica either. So you got to little Stevie Winwood.
Yep. It was actually supposed to be a solo record, and the record company made him turn it into a Traffic album.
All right. Didn't I just? There was something I maybe about Dave Mason. I guess he's not going to be touring anymore.
He retired from touring.
Yeah.
Health issues.
I did get to see him open for Steve Miller Band last year, the year before. Pretty good. He's all right. Of course, we just disagree. Is like the you do that one, and it's like okay, and then feeling all right. And it's kind of like all right. All right, my number 2. We're getting serious. These are the heavy hitters for me. It's funny. I remember my mother talking about this group like they were locals. Like she saw them. Like, it didn't mean anything to me because she only ever said that she said the name of the group, and it sounded like guys that were local to like Yonkers, New York in the 50s. But 1959, Santo and Johnny.
That was one of my honorables.
Sleepwalk.
Oh man, it's a great song.
Yeah, that's
Santo and Johnny Farina, 2 brothers from Brooklyn or Queens. Took up the guitar. I think father wanted them to learn instruments, and they both took it up. And then one of them started playing the Hawaiian slide guitar, which is where you get that like this. Just has this Sleepwalk is all groove. It's just all like it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
They just. I love that stuff. I love that kind of stuff. Again, I'm a sucker for like the low end twangy guitar stuff, and Sleepwalk has that also, and it's just I just love it. I mean, so my mom used to say like back is I used to see Santo and Johnny and this and that, and I just thought it was like some guy like cabaret act or something. Then learned later on that oh my god, these guys did Sleepwalk.
That's such a great tune. When I was a kid, my brother and I used to constantly watch La Bamba on HBO whenever it was on. It was like one of our favorite movies for some reason, and it was largely because of the music. And that's the first time I ever heard Sleepwalk, and it sets such a vibe in that film. And then just like it's got a really cool vibe to it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's so It's almost kind of pairs well with Albatross. Like in its feel, like they're not that they sing, they kind of have that. They find a certain mode. I don't want to say groove because it's not like a groovy song, but a groove that the song gets into, right? And kind of find their place, and they're able to hold it and kind of stay there. Unlike some other songs where there's like Jessica, where there's solos and they're just kind of doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
and then coming back, like Albatross and Sleepwalk, kind of, they're in that, whatever that zone is, whatever that area is, they stay in it, and they just kind of bring you through. Almost Sleepwalk is something like almost like you hear like on a cruise, like I don't know, like
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of on a boat somewhere and it's like just sailing and you're kind of there. So anyway,
very dreamlike, very dreamlike.
Thank you. Putting it into words that I could not. Ethereal.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we are at number 1 already.
Yeah.
Eric, is this as I've asked many times before? Is this represent the number 1? Is it somewhat?
I think so. I mean, it's definitely a classic.
Okay.
In a lot of circles, but I don't know if it really wasn't a big hit for them, but everybody knows this, and it's Pink Floyd. One of these days.
That's a good one
from Metal, I believe. Yeah, dun, dun, dun. And it has that killer like Roger Waters with that bass line, like dun, 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 dun. Very sort of again very psychedelic, but and yeah, there is a spoken word, but you really can't make out what they're saying. It's like one of these days I'm going to
cut you into little pieces.
Yeah. It's just aside, that part of this makes it as disturbing as it could be, but yeah, I mean, it definitely has that sort of, it's almost scary in a way. And I mean, holy shit. I mean, Gilmour on this, I mean, I think it's Steel Pedal.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if is that
the
Steel
Pedal? Straight up. I think I thought it was just straight up slide, but I could be wrong.
Holy crap. I mean, he really takes it somewhere. I mean, I never really used to listen to a lot of old Floyd, pre Dark Side of the Moon, but this is one of my favorite records yeah, I mean, that psychedelic phase of theirs. I mean, but they had some really good shit on there. I mean, It's just like, right after Syd Barrett and then when Gilmour first, joined the group, and I think they might have even played together at some point before Syd Barrett just, again, one of those situations. But
casualty, yeah.
There was a hot minute where they were in the band together, and they're both on the second album. I don't know if they play together on the same track, but they both do appear on Saucer Full of Secrets.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But that's my number 1. I mean, there was several that I thought of in there, and there actually was one that I was going to use, but I was just kind of like, you know what? I'd mentioned enough jazz, so I wanted to go something.
All right.
So there's my prog choice that I mentioned there. So there it is. So yeah, my only prog choice.
What year is that from? Do you have the year?
That was like, was it
71? I think.
Yeah, 71. Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right, there you go. Eric's number 1, Pink Floyd, One of These Days, from Metal, not Metal, but
Metal. Yep.
MEDDLE, if you look it up. But fear not, we're going to have all this stuff on a playlist, and what a playlist it will be.
Eclectic, to be sure.
Eclectic, to be sure, is an understatement, I think. And we'll see how much more eclectic it gets with Christopher Clark's number 1.
All right. So when I was in college, I was on the college radio station, and one of the artists that one of the other DJs hit to me, St. Thomas Aquinas, WSTK Radio.
Nice.
We were carrier current, so if you had to be on the campus to hear it, but still.
Yes, I was on 88.1 WARY, Westchester Community College Radio.
So, but one of the other DJs was into Zappa, and so that's how I kind of dipped my toe into the water with Frank Zappa, and I really love his Hot Rats album. And on Hot Rats, you've got Peaches and Regalia, which I just love the groove of that song. It's it's got like that hook, but it's got some really cool things going on with the drums and the keyboards, and it's just it's like that song really is an earworm for me. I love that song.
Yeah.
What year?
Zappa.
69 or 70, I forget.
Yeah, he's his stuff is definitely an acquired taste, but some of it is just
there's stuff that you love and you're like, this is amazing, and then there's other stuff where you're like, what the hell am I listening to?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but Hot Rats, Overnight Sensation, Apostrophe. There's some really cool stuff going on.
Yeah, he was truly one of a kind, and I don't think his influence was truly felt when he was alive.
No.
I think it was one of those things where after he passed away, people kind of understood, like, you kind of got the look back. And it's this stuff, some of it is very avant-garde and strange, but that's the whole point of Frank Zappa is whatever struck his fancy.
But his band, I mean, a lot of the people that were in his bands ended up going on to like doing other things. Like you have Vinnie Colaiuta, the drummer, you have Steve Vai, Warren Cucurullo, who ended up in Duran Duran, Terry Bozzio.
Wasn't Dan Hartman in Zappa? Or was he in Edgar Winter group?
I'm not sure.
I think it was in Edgar Winter.
And then you had Flo and Eddie. The Turtles actually played with him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Number one. So we've got Pink Floyd. We've got Zappa, and I am going to be which one of these things doesn't belong with the other. Eric may have an inkling of the artist.
Wow.
What?
I can't wait. Can't wait to listen to this fucking playlist, man. That's cool.
Schizophrenic to be sure.
Yeah.
I don't get opera, because of the nature of our musical content, rock and roll. I don't usually get this guy in. So when I have an opportunity to get him in, I take it. Mm-hmm. And I took that opportunity on our top 5 drum songs. I took the opportunity. I'm taking the opportunity again to go with Mr. Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. And A Taste of Honey from 1960.
Of course.
That's a good one.
With, of course, the Wrecking Crew is on there. So, Hal Blaine is on drums. The great story about Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass is that they didn't exist. Herb Alpert would do all of the doubling. He would double his trumpet. He would adjust it so it sounded like someone else. And use the Wrecking Crew. And then all of a sudden they got so popular that they had a tour. And he's like, "Oh Christ, I gotta put a band together now. Like we have to make a real one, almost like the Monkees kind of a thing. Like, I need a band." So then he needed to assemble a band. But it's one of the most recognizable album covers, Whipped Cream and Other Delights, with the woman and Whipped Cream. It's a great album though. That's the thing, is everybody had that album because it was a great album.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, is like it's in everybody's collection, but it's in everybody's collection for a reason. A shitty album is not in everybody's collection. People don't keep shitty albums in their collection. I literally have like 4 or 5 copies because there was a stereo version, there was a mono version. I got a version that there was a receipt from Corvettes when the guy bought it in the 60s. Like the receipt is still in there. Like I've, but A Taste of Honey is just like his stuff was so recognizable.
Yeah.
And he just had a way about it. His trumpet is very, very recognizable as well. Like in the 60s, like Herb Alpert was the guy. There's another trumpeter, Al Hurt. Kind of in the running, but Herb, he had the look. The guy was a stunner. He was a great looking guy. He's the A in A&M Records. So now, he's just, and he's still touring. He's like 90. I wanted to go see him, but the tickets were so expensive.
I actually just saw a commercial either on TV or the internet. I forget which, but an advertisement. I was like, holy shit, he's still touring. Like that was my reaction.
Him and his wife, his wife is a vocalist. So they toured together and he still plays. And then he had a big hit in the 80s. He like with the song Rise. Remember the instrumental Rise?
Yep.
So he kind of like came, like even was able to make a comeback or late 70s, early 80s, but that song Rise. So, all right, that's our top. That was 1965. So, if I look at my list, 68, 1944, 73, 59, and 65. So you see you can kind of see where my sensibilities for this kind of music lie, is that, it's for me, it's the older stuff that kind of grabs.
Well, to be honest, it was a lot more, I think, older it gets. I mean, these songs were played on the radio. These were hits. These were, you don't hear a lot of new music with a lot of instrumental technique. So it's,
It's not really so.
I'm not saying that it's, I'm sure there's that stuff out there that we don't don't even know, but it's just not common.
Unless you're listening to like EDM.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's different though. This is, I mean, in the 70s, you had groups that were musical, vocal groups, singing groups, but then they would put instrumentals tracks on an album. Not a genre of music that is specifically instrumental. Like a song like Jessica or a song like Albatross.
Yeah,
those were the outliers where predominantly they were vocal performances that these groups were doing.
Yep.
All right, are we ready for?
How many we're doing? Three more?
No, we got time. We're going to do more. We'll start with 3. We'll see how far we get. Eric, we're going to make Eric scramble. I'll go first. This way, Eric can. We'll reverse the order.
Oh, so, I have my 3, but okay. I have to come up with 2 more if we're doing 5. But
I'll give you an opportunity. I'll go first with we'll do reverse order. So Eric will go. He'll be in the
okay.
Okay. So here we go. Eric is probably asking why this song was not on the list, and it's on the honorable mentions as we get the bell out.
Of course, I knew.
Which one is it, though? Because I was torn for a little bit.
Well, we haven't actually done the album yet, so I'm guessing Fire on High.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it is Fire on High.
Yeah.
Probably the best known instrumental that no one knows ELO did.
I didn't know they did it.
And back in the day, Eric will remember the Wide World of Sports used to just use the acoustic guitar part.
Yeah,
that was on the Wide World of Sports every Sunday. Like they'd show the skier like patching out, like right. He flipped over the right. Yep. He would like crash, and it's like yeah. It showed like the Olympics. It was like a thing. Like Fire on High. It was never a chart hit. But ABC Sports picked up on it. And it wasn't until I got into ELO much later on, I heard, I'm like, oh my God, that's the song from Wide World of Sports.
Yeah, there you go.
The reason why I didn't put it in my main list is much like Eric, I didn't want it to be just an ELO thing. But it's also, the song takes a while to ramp up. So there's a learning curve with it. There's a lot of stuff you got to get through before you got to get to it. There's a lot of the weird stuff. ELO is still kind of, fooling around with that, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
But once it kind of gets going, Bevan just, he just, gets to really.
I love that album.
All the drum fills. Yeah, he gets to do drum fills galore on this. So,
Face the Music is just, I think it's one of their best. And it still has that raw.
It's kind of an outlier. It's kind of like
more of that polished, very polished, production. This was a really raw album. Songs like Poker and, I love that stuff.
And One Summer Dream. It's an in-betweener.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those records, like I always knew that song and it was very identifiable. I never knew it was ELO.
Yeah.
And so it's when you hear
glad
it,
it's on the list,
because
again, it was, I had it on mine as a, but it was way, I cut it, because I had cut the list short, but it definitely was there for sure.
It was going to be for a while. It was the Whale.
Okay. Out of the Blue.
Okay. Out of the Blue. And I'm kind of like,
I would have thought the El Dorado Overture.
Yeah, we just kind of talked about some kind of like,
yeah.
And that's a really short thing.
Yeah.
So I think more apropos. So, all right, Christopher Clark, honorable mentions. These were circling the drain, but didn't quite make it down. So what do you have for your first?
This one missed my top 5 by a hair. And much like you with ELO, this is Dream Theater. They have a lot of instrumentals. I could have picked any one of them, but the one that I had to go with was their first one on their first record, When Dream and Day Unite, and the instrumental's called Yitse Jam. All right.
Can you spell that?
All right. So when they first started out as a band, they were called Majesty, and they found out somebody else had that name, so they had to change the name of the band. So the instrumental is Majesty spelled backwards.
Oh, okay.
So
that's awesome. Yeah,
and it's very proggy. It's got those got the metal elements and stuff, and it's and again it's very memorable, and it's one of those songs that continues to build as you go through. So it's always been one of my favorite instrumentals.
That's neat. I dig it. All right, Eric. We tend to, just for the audience, we tend to do our honorable mentions a little bit quicker. We kind of like we throw them a couple sentences, but again. we implore you to give us your picks as well, and you can give us 5 and honorable mentions. We'll play equal footing. If you've got more than 5, we'll certainly do the honorable mentions too. So, Eric, what do you have for your first?
So this is one of those like one hit wonders that you've probably heard forever. I didn't realize it was so old. I'm 68, but you hear it in like a lot of different shows and this and such. And it's Classical Gas.
Mason
Williams, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that and it's just, the last time I heard it, I was watching an episode of Frasier, and it was on that. It was they played it on that. I'm like, what, what is this? I never knew, who did it, but I did this, I of course I knew like
great song.
This, yeah, it is a great song. It's like one of those sort of kind of like hooked on classics. Exactly. I wonder if this
classics was a thing.
Yeah, I think this might have been the template for that, and might have been a really big inspiration for that kind of stuff. But yeah. But yeah, it's just really cool. I like just his guitar on there is just is nice, and it's just and the way it builds up. I just it's just it's a memorable tune. You just. People on YouTube playing it on harps and all this kind of stuff, and just like it's so cool to see like people playing these like the bizarre instruments, but they're doing these like these songs.
No,
yep.
Oh, now that you mentioned Classical Gas, it's not Roy Clark. I don't think Roy Clark did a version of it.
He might have, because he was a phenomenal.
Yeah, what's his name? I think Jim Stafford might do a version of it.
Okay.
He's very like he jokes around on the guitar, but he's really good, and that's how he makes himself look so bad.
Yeah.
Really good. Because he does like Malaguena, and he's like messing it up, and the guitar's falling,
right?
And
then he,
caught in the strings, like he does that kind of stuff. And I think he did a version of Classical Gas too.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the applause. That's good for Classical Gas. That came out. You know what? It was kind of there, and I saw it on a list when I was doing it. I'm like, just to bring it back to ELO, the song "Jumping Biz" on their first album is inspired by that. You listen to "Jumping Biz," it actually is very similar to almost like Roy Wood heard that and said, "I'm going to do a version of that." So check that out. All right, we're back to we're at number 2. Let's see. I'm going to go with Booker T and the MGs, but not Green Onions.
I was going to say Green Onions.
I knew he was going to say that.
I'm going to go with "Time Is Tight" from 1968.
Okay,
it's much more sedate. It's it's just that it sets it kind of it's like a paper boat. Like you push it out onto the pond and it just kind of goes. And time is tight is like that. It's just kind of doom doo 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 doom doo doo doom doo 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 doom, and then the organ comes in on it, doo doo doo, and it just kind of, and then it builds, but then it kind of goes back down again. It's just like really chill. Like I like that kind of stuff, Green Onions is much more recognizable. It's kind of, but
of course,
Time Is Tight is kind of like it's like the younger brother of it, and I kind of like it because it's a little, it's got its own vibe to it, and I kind of dig that. And side note, the Beatles, John Lennon in particular, was a big fan of Booker T and the MGs. He actually, when he would do like stuff in the 70s, he would call them, make up fake names like he liked to do of like who was performing, and there were some of them were kind of like takeoffs on Booker T and the MGs variations. And then they did an album, Booker T and the MGs did an album of Beatles covers.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. I started listening to it. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit, I might need to really sit. It's not something I don't think you can just kind of listen to.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, let me pick out a couple songs. I'm like, no, I think you need to listen to it. Anyway, Time Is Tight, Booker T and the MGs from 1968. So, Christopher Clark, what do you got? You got a second?
I do. So this is a band that was in the 70s, and they were an all-instrumental band, which, again, like you guys said, I don't know that you could do this anymore and not get any and get notoriety or any kind of like traction. But The band is called the Dixie Dregs, and they're known for being having elements of jazz, rock and roll, country, classical, and the track I picked is a little bit more atmospheric. Dream Theater actually did cover this one too, but it's called Odyssey, and it's one of the songs that just kind of like slowly builds and you know, again, like kind of like hits a climax and all that kind of stuff. And it's, again, there are top parts of it where you're listening to it and it sounds like it could be classical, but then it does then get a little bit of a country flavor to it, and it's just a really cool track, very cool song. Yeah,
all right. I'm almost picturing it in my head, but I'd have to listen to it. But
yeah,
it's
one of their more
the name of the band sounds familiar.
Yeah, I've heard of Dixie Dregs. I don't think I've ever
Steve
by them.
Steve Morse, their guitar player, played in Deep Purple after Richie Blackmore left, and the drummer Rod Morgenstein actually ended up in Winger in the 80s, which I don't know how the hell that happened. But
didn't Steve Morse also end up in Kansas in like the 80s or 90s?
He was in Kansas for a brief time as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
he was in Kansas. So. Yeah. I mean, Kansas, the group, not the state.
Yes,
he wasn't exiled to Kansas.
But they're a really cool band. They're worth checking out. I would recommend their live album from the Montreux Jazz Festival in 1978.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what, Eric, give us yours, and then we'll do one more. So that'll be 3 each. So
okay.
We'll be good there. So, Eric, you're number 2.
My number 2. This was a band that I don't know if they're still together or they're still touring. I haven't seen much of them lately, but I loved them when they first came out. There's an album called Unclassified. Robert Randolph and the Family Band.
Great band.
Robert Randolph still tours, I think.
They opened for Clapton when I saw him in 2004 on the Me and Mr. Johnson tour, and they put on a good show. I mean, these guys played, musical chairs. That's how talented they are. They kept the song going. I don't know how the fuck they did it, but they're doing the song, and it's like one guy, like the members of the band would pick up where he would replace the drummer, and he'd run around and pick up the bass and start playing. And Robert Randolph would be playing another instrument, like something different, like
that's
keyboards or whatever.
Really cool.
Oh my God, it was phenomenal. The song I chose was off their album. It's called Squeeze, and it's real funky. Has that sort of that very funky type of doom 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 bass. Like the atypical like like when you're slapping the bass kind of thing. But again, the steel pedal playing on this song is just it's just he's out of his mind on this thing. I just love the notes that he achieves on this song, and it's really, and the band and they're a Christian band. That's what I found out. Or at least he was very steeped in the church, and there's a lot of that influenced the music, and they really kind of, and this song in particular, I could see that. Some people just really kind of it's got a great hook. It takes off, and it's just, really, really, really good.
Cool.
Yeah, but this whole album I thought was great. But this Squeeze is the name of it, and the name of the album is Unclassified. I think it might have been their debut, or at least their debut in terms of like a real record. How certain groups that just put out an EP or just a batch of songs or whatever, but this was their first official release, I believe. It's like 2003, I think it came out. Yeah. So, and then I saw them again, in the Crossroads Festival in 2007. They had brand new stuff that they were doing then. So it was just, but ever since then, I'd like to kind of, I haven't really seen him in the,
I think maybe he tours by himself now, but I think I see him on like festival bills.
Yeah, probably the jam circuit and that kind of thing.
Not listed
for sure.
Band, but listed by himself. But I could be wrong. But I think
right.
All right. You're omitting one, which I guess we'll wait for your final one, Eric, and it's your wiffle ball one, and I guess that's why it's not there.
It's not what you're going to expect.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's one that you haven't done, and I'm guessing you're omitting it for the reasons that I omitted, like Fire on High for, I suppose.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. Okay, my final one. This one is this was in the top 5, and there's not much daylight between this and it not being in the top 5. I mean, it's kind of like I could listen to this song over and over. And the guitar player in this group, you can go back and you want to talk about like Page and Clapton, McCartney, Lennon, all these people will mention the name Hank Marvin.
Yeah, in the Shadows. Yeah,
Shadows, and he played a red Stratocaster. And the name of the song is Apache from 1960.
That's a great song.
It is a great song. And the Shadows were Cliff Richard's backing band. It was Cliff Richard and the Shadows. And Cliff Richard was like England's answer to Elvis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gigantic in England. He was gigantic in England. He was a monster in England, but never was really big here until like the 70s, right? He had Devil Woman. He had like a good couple of hits in the 70s.
Yeah.
But back then, and he was a kid. He was literally a kid, but he was like their Elvis, and the Shadows were his backing band. But then the Shadows kind of did their own stuff. They did instrumental stuff, and Apache is just so moody, and it's dun 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 dun. I just love like for me that's kind of like the gold standard. Or one of the forebears of like Walk Don't Run, and just the stuff that the Ventures were doing, and the stuff that the 60s. I could have picked anything from 60s surf. I could have done a ton.
Dick Dale.
There's so much stuff, but Apache from 1960. So just to put a bow on it, when I did the average year that these songs came out, it was 1960. Was the average?
Right.
Wow.
Like of my collection. So again, that should kind of tell you where my old addled mind is. As far as instrumental music goes, if you want to like impress me, play me something older. But anyway, Christopher Clark, your final.
I don't know if this is cheating, but I'll never forget the first time my cousin played for me Passion and Warfare by Steve Vai, and I don't go for shredders, and I'm not a big shredder guy, but there's something about this album that really kind of stuck with me and moved me even as a 10-year-old kid. And one of the songs on it is a song called The Audience Is Listening. And the whole song is, there's all these like sound effects, like it sounds like a teacher talking to Steve Vai when he's a little kid in a classroom, and how he's going to play for his class, all this nice music. And then the song kicks in, and it starts out like this really loud, aggressive, heavy metal sounding song. And the teacher's going, "This is getting a little loud. Don't you think this is getting a little loud?" And so the whole song is like him just like going ape shit. And it's all sound effects of like a teacher trying to like manage her class while there's this loud rock band playing in the front of it. And it's funny and it's silly. But the music is it's amazing. It's like you hear it and it's got a groove to it. I mean, he's got Chris Frazier and Stu Hamm as his rhythm section playing with him on it. It's an amazingly well done song. And it's also a song that's a little bit special to me because I remember playing it for my daughter when she was a little kid, like littler than she is now. She's still a kid, but, and her always finding it really funny and asking me to play it. And so it's just one of those instrumentals that, like I said, it's meant something to me at various points in my life, as silly and as crazy a song as it is. So.
Yeah. No, that counts because it's not vocals.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's
just somebody talking. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking as a sound effect, but not as lyrics.
No, definitely not.
We'll put it that way. Not as lyrics. So, all right, Eric, you get the final word. What is it going to be?
I think it's a perfect closing track. Actually, I think it would be a really great opening track or a closing track to, and it's a tune called "Soul Serenade" by King Curtis. I know the Allman Brothers. Duane Allman was a huge fan of this. Harkening back to the Allman Brothers was probably the reason why it was in my number one spot. Only because we're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so it would have been like on the list there. But I switched it out with Pink Floyd. But here, I think it's appropriate that it should end the playlist. I think because it's just really nice vibe to it, and it's just him on the. Really old timey. If there is a great live version of this, which is the pretty much the version that he's known for, but there's the version from the studio, like it was I think it was just a single in '64 it came out, but he plays this really old timey type of saxophone. It might have been like an old type like alto sax, but he put it in an echo chamber, so it's got a really like otherworldly kind of vibe to it. It's like very, 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 very echoey, but it makes it it gives the song that sort of time capsule. It's like a memory. And it's a really great groove. It's just basically it's just him noodling on the sax, but then it kind of the end of that sentence is do do do, like it's just just very chill, like yeah, this is the end, guys. This is like we're wrapping this up, so there it is. And yeah. So I always loved it. I know Derek has always played it as well with his band and Tedeschi Trucks. He tries to squeeze it in there every chance he gets. I know that because it's just a great soulful tune, and he plays the sax stuff on slide guitars. So he's playing what King Curtis would have played, which is amazing. But this try to find that you might be able to find. It's like probably on a compilation or whatever. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll be able to find it, but the studio version stereo 64.
Okay.
Yeah. Soul Serenade. Yep.
I didn't gain an appreciation for him until I was older, man, but he was such a phenomenal musician.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. That does it for the list. So Eric, what gets the sad trombone for omission?
No Genesis, right?
I was expecting Hand in Hand from you, from Phil Collins.
No, but there's vocals on it.
It's vocalizations. It's not vocals.
Yeah.
We're not singing
like you said, but it's like you said, we talked about, we did Face Value. So that's,
I was
actually, to be honest, I had Los Endos on the list from Trick or the Tail.
Maybe the East Side.
Yeah. Or I was also thinking of What Gorilla from Wind and Wuthering, which is his answer, like, because he was in Brand X at the time. So that was his like sort of jazz fusion response to, with Genesis as to do that. But no, but they were like cut from the list because it was too long.
Sure.
So they weren't even in the honorable mention. So
I had a couple there that were still there.
Yeah.
So this is going to be it will be a playlist. So you'll be able to click on the link in the show notes to check it out. But again, we want your help. If you want Hand in Hand on there, if you are a Phil Collins fan, you can add it. If there's something, again, if it's something that we missed, or you're a jazz fan and you've got some other stuff, even, classical, I could have easily picked something from Mozart and brought it in and brought it up there. So this is wide open, except for soundtracks.
Yeah. Score music.
No score music, no soundtrack. But other than that, or TV themes, those are separate. Those could be separate. Separate episodes. That's a
separate, top 5 right there.
Seriously,
we got to milk this.
Yeah,
we got to get some mileage out of it. But I think the list is going to be fantastic. So again, it'll make it better with everybody's help as well, and pitching in and giving us your picks, and we look forward to it. And I look forward to. I love putting it on. I love putting it on and hitting shuffle. And then just letting the algorithm mix it for me, and this mix is going to be wild.
Yeah, this is going to be really.
Because I've been listening to mine on a mix, and it's kind of a lot of it's in the same lane, so it kind of like all right. But now throwing in all the other picks is just going to be something.
Steve Vai next to Glenn Miller, that's quite a ride.
Metallica and 9 Inch Nails and
Herb Alpert.
Going back to King Curtis.
I don't think Hal Blaine ever thought he'd be on a playlist with Trent Reznor.
No, I don't think so either.
But he is now, only at the 3324 podcast. So that's going to do it. Christopher Clark, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man. This was a fun one.
Yeah. We love when you bring your considerable talents to bear on it. And
thank you.
Like Eric says, top 5s are a chance for us to kind of get a little more personal with the music and kind of reveal a little bit about ourselves. And you can see I should have just, been born in 1936 and lived through, those eras of music. But anyway, I digress. That's going to do. We're going to put a ribbon on this one. Go check us out. New episodes come out every Thursday. If you would, go ahead and just follow us. Go ahead and hit follow this way. Get a notification, a little ding, a little light notification on your device of choice when new episodes drops. This way they're hot and ready for you. And there's over 200. We're closing in on episode 250. This may even be episode 250. Go ahead and check out all the back catalog of great stuff that we've got. We think you'll enjoy it. Short episodes, long episodes, movie episodes. We've got everything in there that has tickled the fancy of Eric and I. So that's going to do it. For Christopher Clark, for Eric Cooper, this has been Dean. We'll catch you on the flip side.
You've been listening to the 3324 podcast with Dean Legiro and Eric Cooper. You can find us on your favorite podcast provider, so please like, subscribe, and rate to become a part of the 3324 family. Your feedback is important, so make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at 3324 podcast and on Twitter at 3324p to join the conversation.